I'm fairly certain the teacher was let go as I didn't see her at school the following week, and a sub took over until a replacement was found. You're in high school, and if you can get your teacher to give you detention in 60 seconds or less, you win $10,000. What do you do? Lots of people are going to end up with no money, and a suspension instead of detention based on this thread. Source: teacher. Get up from my desk and sit at theirs. What are you going to do? Give me detention. Teacher: since you want to teach so much, go ahead. Teach. I had a teacher in middle school actually say that to a kid who just wouldn't shut up in class. And the kid took her up on it, lol. He did ask for a 24-hour delay to prepare his lesson though, which she granted. He comes into class the next day in business casual, and to all our surprise, taught a not all that bad 15-minute lesson on the cell. This was a science class. Continue browsing Reddit, but now more obvious. Browse out loud. Redditors who went to an orgy, what is it like? I dunno class, let's find out. Cut a dead leaf off a window plant with some scissors, which will then make the weird kid sitting next to you cry. That's what I got detention for in 5th grade. Nice. I went to the principal's office in 2nd grade for pushing the door open to the bathroom stall with my foot. They were disgusting, and a boy was inside. He forgot to lock the door and got super embarrassed, so he ran out crying, and told the teacher I kicked the door in on him while he was pooping. I was accused of mocking a special needs kid who had left the stall door open in 5th grade. In reality, me and a friend were the ones who closed the door after other kids had been making fun of him. I was so pissed for getting in trouble for doing the right thing. Say, I'll give you $100 for detention. And if he asks why, flip the table. A guy on the internet told me if I get detention in the next 60 seconds I'll win $40. So give me detention and we can split it 50-50. Surely $20 is a lot of money to you since, you know, you're a teacher. If we can change it to middle school, I could walk into science and say, fart, to instantly get detention. Teacher thought that because her family considered it a bad word, everyone should. My mom got a phone call saying I'd said the F word to a teacher, and raced to the school to chew me out. She almost passed out laughing when they told her which F word it was. This reminds me of elementary school. We had a lesson on alliteration. My letter was F. Frank fly fishes from flying feces. I got in trouble because she considered feces a bad word. I called a kid a jackass in 2nd grade because he was literally braying like a donkey, and I had just learned that word from reading Aesop's fables from the Reading area in the classroom. I was still forced to call home and explain why I was in trouble, despite not actually knowing why it was bad. I actually used to do this in high school if I didn't want to go home after school, or a girl I liked was already in detention. My move was to call the teacher whatever unflattering nickname the teacher had with the students. Worked every time. Wish I had gotten paid for it. Quack like a duck every time she talks. So many other folks posting on here are giving suspension level ideas. Have to be more subtle for detention. Tell the teacher, I'll be in detention if you need me. Stop me if you disagree. Then walk out. I actually did this twice to an algebra teacher I had. She would never teach and just let the obnoxious kids run the classroom. I would use that period as a cram session to finish other homework or projects. A couple of times she let the room get so out of control that I straight up gathered my things, yelled, "I'll be trying to get actual work done in the detention room," and just walked out. Coach who ran detention would just roll his eyes when I told him what was going on, and I never actually received a punishment or even reprimand. She also was not rehired the next year, lol. I said. Deep breath, pulling out mega horn. How would you like to suck my balls, Mr. Garrison? For the school I work at, all you have to do is wear a hoodie, dress code violation, put my hood up in class, and talk back to the teacher when they ask me to take the hood off. Bonus point if you have headphones in. It's simple really. A lot of these are entirely too elaborate, or the school I work at is an actual prison IDK. Edit, I should clarify that we have a uniform that is khakis and a maroon or gray polo or collared shirt. They can wear sweatshirts without hoods, quarter-zip style sweatshirts just no hoods, hoodies. At my school, so many people started wearing them that they got rid of it being a violation. We are now allowed to wear hats and hoods. This also happened at a friend of mine's school 3 years prior. A kid would not take off his hat no matter the consequence. The trick is doing something bad enough to get detention, but not bad enough to get suspended or expelled instead. Most of the answers in this thread will get you way worse than detention. I'd get up and leave class, flicking the teacher off as I left. That should be enough to get only detention, not worse. Is detention even a thing anymore? I was in trouble all the time and the only 2 punishments they had were out of school suspension or in school suspension. No after school or weekend detention. Flipping the bird to a teacher is an out of school suspension. Dipping out of class is in school suspension. In middle school I got detention for so many random stupid things. In high school I only got detention for arguing. So if I was in middle school I'd ask to go to the bathroom during class or pop a plastic bag. In high school I'd say something controversial about politics or religion and just not give up till I got the detention and then wave the detention slip around showing I made $10,000. My mom told me a story of getting called to the school for some vague vandalism on my part when I was in 1st or 2nd grade. She leaves work and comes to the school expecting the worst. Teacher explains that I've been deliberately breaking crayons. My dear sweet mother, bless her soul, has for as long as I can remember been the most kind and considerate person I've known. But from her telling of the story she flipped out and gave that teacher a verbal lashing that would make a sailor blush. The crayons were the ones my mother had bought for me, as the school would not, or could not, supply them. She was absolutely livid that she had to take time off work to deal with this teacher's inability to deal with a minor inconvenience at best, when the problem had no impact on the school whatsoever. I still got in trouble from my parents for intentionally breaking my crayons as I should, but it really drives home how dumb and or out of touch teachers can be. I've got more stories if anyone's interested. Edit, Storytime 2, Electric Boogaloo. The year is 2002 and I'm now in 8th grade. I've long since abandoned any attempts to overthrow the corrupt Crayola regime, but I now have a powerful ally in my daily battles, teen hormones. On this particularly pleasant afternoon I was sitting at a table with some friends waiting to get lunch. You see, at our school students were assigned to tables. When your table was called you could go up to get lunch. Supposedly this was to reduce congestion and get people through lines faster, but if your table was last you were still waiting a good 20 minutes or so. Being bored and trying to pass the time, I pulled a crisp $5 bill out of my wallet and folded it into a Chinese football. Now, I'm not sure if the term Chinese football is widely known around the world, so I'll give details on what it is and the point of the game. A Chinese football is a piece of paper, folded into a triangle. In this game, 2 people take turns flicking the football between themselves into goalposts, think American football, made by touching your thumbs together with index fingers extended. Pretty simple concept. Well, one particular home economics teacher who happened to be policing the cafeteria to make sure us hooligans didn't start what I can only assume to be a mutiny, didn't care for this. As the football soared through my fingertips in a blaze of glory, it landed a few feet away on the floor. Before I had the chance to retrieve it, Mrs. I Hate Children has picked it up. She strode over to our table and said that our activity was a hazard to other students. To her credit, the pointy end of the football might have been able to cause some moderate damage to an eye if the stars aligned. However, instead of simply asking us to put it away, she confiscated. Now, I wasn't all that upset at first. Most people don't turn money into flying paraphernalia, so I let it slide. She probably just thought it was a scrap of notebook paper. I got my lunch and ate in peace, talking about whatever it was teenage boys liked in 2002. Probably boobies and wrestling. However, lunch was now ending and I needed to get my money back. As I approached her, I could already tell my battle was far from over. I was getting a stink eye so bad my gag reflex was almost overwhelmed. Before I had the chance to open my mouth I was asked what I wanted. I asked if I could have the football back that she confiscated earlier as it was a $5 bill. She said, "No, you may not have it back." A few seconds of disbelief later, maybe she didn't hear it was made of money. I repeated that I had made it out of my own money and that she could not just steal a student's cash. I'm then told that if I cared or knew the value of money I wouldn't be haphazardly throwing it around the cafeteria. Teen anger took over and I exploded. "I don't really give a damn what you think. Give back my money, bitch." After some heated argument on disrespect and the likes I was told I'm being given a 3-day suspension and my parents were being called. Perfect. My dad showed up this time and was under the impression I just randomly decided to call a teacher a bitch. After being told the full story, he was, well, not happy. To cut a long story short, I'm fairly certain the teacher was let go as I didn't see her at school the following week, and a sub took over until a replacement was found. I got back the $5 and didn't get suspended.
Like and subscribe for more funny, interesting, and scary r/ask Reddit videos.